Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about this integrated preparedness plan, the IPP and the Annual Report Toolkit. In this episode, we're going to break down a little bit deeper into the actual toolkit itself. We'll utilize a single version and talk about how this thing kind of works, where to put the data, how to print the reports, all of that good information. As a reminder from the website, right, when you click the blue buttons on any of our tools, it pops open uh, a new Google Sheet, as it were, right? It won't let you edit the one that opens up because that would be the master copy. However, you can just simply hit a file, make a copy, change where you want it to go, if you want to share it with anybody, name it whatever you want to name it, and again, select, like I said, where you want it to be at, and then hit make a copy. For today, we'll just be working off of this one to show you how it works. A little Gee Whiz trivia. This was Hurricane Harvey with the American Red Cross. This was a abandoned lot near the headquarters that became a helipad, followed by logistics field, all sorts of stuff. Lots of good memories off of some deployment time for about a month down there. As we kind of work through the tools, much like all the others, we appreciate all the support from Homeland Security, Blue Cell, FEMA, a bunch of beta testers who helped us kind of get this thing honed in and working to where it works pretty decent now, we think. That said, though, if you do see any problems or any things that pop up that aren't working the way you think they should, just email us and we'll make a change, put it in the change record, and then you can pull a new copy if need be. As we kind of come through here, it's got some information that helps guide your where you're going with this. Talks about what you might want to have in place when you start going into your IPP planning process. The instructions, how we kind of do the different things. In this case, these instructions for the state are partly for our multi plan, and then down here in the locals, this is sort of the single jurisdiction plan. So we'll show you how that works. Spend some time on the maps, how those things work, some Google Studios if you want to play around with that. We'll do a video on that at some point. But we do have a roll-up aggregate master sheet that pulls all the information in one spot if you want to run your own kind of unique analytics. But that's a whole other deal. You don't need to do it for this project. This will pull a pretty good base set of analytics standardized, so we can just leave it there probably. Printing, similar to all the others, right? If we want to print, we select what we want to print. In this case, we'll say workbook. We don't really recommend that, but you could. Generally, like we've talked in the past, you probably only want to print the one sheet you're working off of. You need to double check it looks the way you think it does, right? Hit next, 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 and it'll take you out to where you can print your stuff. So that said, we will come back and look at our toolkit here real quick. And my computer is running a little bit slow, so we'll just open up a new incident of this. Let's take a look at what we're doing here. Let's bring this down to 75. Like all the other tools, right, we've got some stuff out here, some resources that you might go look at on how to do IPPs kind of philosophically, right, or more theoretically. Down here is, again, a bit of a table of contents where you can click through if you want to go straight to something. For now, we'll just start here on our data entry, kind of as always. And so as you go through, you can see a lot of integrated drop downs. But as we work through, we might want to call it super cool IPP, state of wonderful, right? Whatever you want to do. We are the wonderful EM agency. We've got 25 counties in our state, and we divide those up into whatever region. So as you look through now, we're kind of working through the core capabilities are all listed in here. So hopefully from your THIRA, or again, if there's some hand downs from the state or FEMA, whatever case, your priorities, your leader's intent, you can select which ones are pretty critical to what you'll be working on. So you can do that. We come down, where do you get your authority for this plan? In this case, we'll say state of wonderful or FEMA or your county commissioners, whatever the case. If there's a grant that requires this, grant performance period, again, this helps go to what the plan will cover down. If you've got any EM training requirements, right, that come out of that grant that may be passed down from the state, you can incorporate them here. We'll talk about where these things come from, right? We've got a data master tab where you can customize any of these drop downs. and kind of where that lives, we'll show you here in a minute. But again, we can customize the regions, we can customize the counties. You select that, fill in some of these basic informations that you got going on. We can do the images. So let's just say, as a reminder, right, we'll go to image, insert in cells, and we can then use any of these things. We can either search on the internet. If we've got something we can upload, we can do that. If we've got something Google Drive or Photos, you can do that. But let's just go with logo. Let's see what comes back. All right, we'll say Lego, and we will incorporate the Lego logo, and you'll see where that pops up here in a little bit. So as you go through, we'll just say Mr. Smith, IPP Guru. He's with the super wonderful EM agency. We can populate phones, emails, put some other POCs in there. Got a list of who all helped out with this. So we'll say the public health response coordinators, the emergency medical, hospital. You can populate up to 10 stakeholders that helped with this. If you've got authorities in here, we can pull them in with links. If you've got some specific ones, you can put them in here as well. If we do an IPPW, right, the workshop where we chat about all this stuff, you can put in some information about that. What were we trying to get out of the IPPW? As you come down, now here's where we start taking some data from our FIRA and our SPR. So you can select out of the natural hazards what natural hazards were identified. We'll say a couple of these. We'll change them a little bit just to show you how it works. Same with human caused. We can change those up. And then same with technological. As you work your way down, any little things that have this little orange flag in the corner are just a little reminder. So as you hover over it, right, if you want more information on critical infrastructure, off you go. And maybe instructions throughout or little reminders or links. So we'll say here in our jurisdiction, we've got chemical facilities as number 2, government complex. What are some of the special events we may have coming up? We've got a high school sports tournament. We've got a major sporting event. We've got a election. You can kind of populate those. Again, I'll show you here in a minute where you can customize these drop downs. What are the plans that will sort of inspire this? Let's say it's the EOC staff is going to be a big one, or EOP, the real world response. Again, like we talked, you can customize all these drop downs. Now as we come down, let's say gap number 1, 4 communications. That was identified by a real world AAR. The root cause, as we kind of work through it, we think that's a lack of equipment. We feel it's going to be in the prevention mission area, and then again, the core capability most relating to that, let's say there's communication in here somewhere. Let's see, operational communication. You would fill these out again based off your FIRA. As you come down, you can load up to 10 of those. When we talk about, what concerns do we have, this was sort of a poll question for some of the roll-up state stuff, but you can identify some of these things, and again, it'll harvest some insights for you. Some miscellaneous questions, we pulled these in. They were largely based off of some of the roll-up data, and so you can use them or not. If you don't need them, just simply hit delete, and that question will disappear from our reports. The blue ones, right, we're saying are generally kind of required, if you will, and the green ones are more optional. And so here we just give a little bit of a narrative summary, just a short little paragraph, maybe a sentence or two on each of our POED elements, as well as our kind of summary on what we're looking at for real world. From there, we kind of gather around and we start working through. So our real world planned event, we're going to call it super cool planned event. And it is let's see, it'll be a major sporting event. We think the cost will be about $2,500 for all of our planning and all the stuff that goes into supporting this special event. It's going to be in hours, say 72. And we're going to say it is a pretty complex thing. The drop down rate, again, we can say actually or we can, again, you can customize these drop downs. So let's say 40 hours, right? It's a week long kind of a deal. Also in January, we're going to work on updating some of these. And these drop downs, again, can be customized a little bit. So we're going to say we're going to update our phone book in January. With any new folks coming on, we're going to say that'll cost $0. The core capability it's going to work on, let's say, operational communications. And then as we go through, right, we're going to say it's in progress. It sort of defaults to that. But when you look in review, right, after January is over, we can come back and say, yeah, we did. We updated the phone book. We're going to mark that as yes. Or we might say, no, actually, we moved it to February. We just got too busy. Then come through here again. We can take these out, select them, delete them, or again, add them, change them, whatever. So let's say we're going to do some staffing, and we're going to hire a temp helper for recovery closeout. And similar, right? We can do those sort of things. Equipment, we can put in here what's going on. Same with those. Down here in training, we've got a big library of all sorts of different stuff, right? FEMA IS stuff, the PDS series, basic academies, APS electives, the all hazard position specifics, and then down here by core capabilities, right? So you can see some of these are IS or management. We took the whole catalog, it's in here, and you can go through by core capabilities and say, boy, I think we've got a gap in infrastructure systems, and we're going to require everybody to take this IS class, or we're going to host the G course, right, with the local damage assessment. You can put how many hours that is in here, where we're going to put it, and this is what we were talking about mapping later, so we'll put it in any town, TC state, right, and we'll use this for mapping down the road. Who's going to be doing this for us? We can have a variety of options, again, customizable list, and we'll say internal instructors. In this case, it's going to be our jurisdiction hosting it. We said that was, let's say, recovery. Again, we're just sort of making up the answers here. And we'll go with economic recovery. It's going to cost about $1,000 for the room rental, the snacks, printing materials, all that sort of stuff. Again, we can leave these blank or come back at the end and fill them out. Similarly, right, we can come back and add how many students attended. So we'll say 45 of us all went to local damage assessment. If we're doing a second course that month, you can kind of fill that out here as well. And then same with exercise. So let's say we're doing the super exercise in January. It's going to be a 10-hour deal. It will be a functional. We'll host it in whatever location, our facilitator. We're going to use a contractor for that. As we work through, you see how that kind of goes. Same with the other stuff. We're going to anticipate having 16 folks. This is a planning thing, or again, at the end of January, come back and update it. Same idea for February, right? As we roll down through all these months, it looks like a lot, but really you're taking a shot at those. In the first year, each 12 months has a box here. In the second year, we break it down by quarters, a little less granular. And then down here in the third year, we only break it down to first half, second half. So you've got a few shots here to kind of look at it. We can put in some unique acronyms and some unique terms if we want. So let's say blah, blah, and that actually means blah, blah, blah. We'll see where these things kind of flow out. So that's our data entry. We populate that one time, hopefully in a workshop format. And then at the end of each month, we can go back and do a quick little check-in, update anything we put in there. Real fast, we'll come back here. I'll show you the data entry master. This is how we integrate a little bit with the multi-report. So if you wanted to fill out your data entry, you can then copy and paste your data entry, right, that column B on the data entry tab, into your spot on the multi. But we'll show that in a different video. As you can see, everything's very much the same. Questions are the same. So if you monkey with these back here, you will mess up some stuff if you're going to roll it up into the multi version. If you're not rolling it up to the multi version, you can come in here and change a few of the things, question answers and terminology and whatnot. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of this document here, right, again, very much matches our data entry, but you can see here now we drop these drop-down customizers. And so we're going to say in other stakeholders, we're going to have the circus is a stakeholder, and it'll tell you, hey, do you really want to edit this? If you do, right, you can click don't show this and OK. But it's just a little reminder. And you can add whatever else in here. Delete stuff, blah, staff. These are right off the Thyra, so we'd recommend you not messing with them, but you sure can. You can reorder them. You can do whatever. Again, off the Thyra. These are the CIKR sectors. Again, we'd probably recommend you leave those alone. They're national standards. You can adjust the dates of what your plan will be working on. So if we're coming in to do this next year, we'll put January 2024. If you want, you can pull these things down, right? And we'll go to there now. Oops, now we jumped it up. But you see how that would work, right? We can just type February 2024, or we put February 2024, grab these couple of guys, pull it down. Now we're having trouble, but you get the idea. We can put March 2024 or whatever the case may be. We'll just undo that real quick. Core capability list, again, probably leave it alone, but if you'd like to change it, you can. Gaps identified by core capability. This is the subset of the ones you selected up above, so that's kind of I'll leave it alone deal. You can change these. We saw stuff, right? That could be one of your answers for a drop down. If we want to change these out, we can put them in as counties, blah county, or we can list them as region dash county. However you want to do that, you can set that up. If we got teams like regional teams, you can list those in here. This will be the drop down of what's going on. Plans you want to update, you can list any of those out here. If you have different names for any of those, let's say you call your EOP something else, you can just change that, and it will then change through all your drop downs. How you're doing classes, you can see all this stuff below there. So again, as you look here, number of students or agencies participating, organizational activities, if you got concerns for training, how many course duration, so we can change these, right? You can do 72, 96, 1,000, million, zillion, billion training hours, right? Or another. And with the colors, you essentially, if you have more drop downs than there are colors, you'll have to ask for some custom help there. But as long as you stay within the colored box, you can have up to however many options you want in each set of colors. The type of events and incidents, this top part, you can mess with a little bit, right? You can put in what the generic buckets are for you, or if you've got specific names and things that come every year, you can put those in, and then they'll show up on the drop downs. We also then pull in the threats and hazards from up above. So if you have those things that you're anticipating coming each year, you can pull those in with the drop down, but you don't have to. Training classes, again, you probably want to leave these alone. They're broke out by, again, PDS and whatnot. But you could come in here and say, hey, we specifically require you to review the such and such class, or we have a welcome to your state or your EOC just-in-time training class. You can write those in here, and then again, they show up in your drop downs. So with that, we will call this video kind of a wrap, and we'll come back in episode 3, and we'll talk about what reports and printing and some of that. So with that, thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate you hopping on and learning and using the tools, and be safe. Take care. Thanks.